So what do you get when you leave a retard alone for a couple of days with a typewriter? This. Libertarian socialism. Let's just go over this very first paragraph together. Libertarian socialism, sometimes called social anarchism, left libertarianism, and socialist libertarianism, is a group of anti-authoritarian political philosophies inside the socialist movement. All right off the bat, we have a problem here. Libertarianism and socialism are mutually exclusive concepts. Libertarians believe in individual property rights, and that right can be exercised as they wish, regardless of what others think, no matter how many others there are, so long as they do not infringe upon the fundamental right of others when doing so. Socialism says that collectives can override the wishes of individuals in just about any way the collective wants, whenever it's fashionable. Yes, the frameworks have some overlap, but socialism at its core has this concept that the collective has the rights to dictate to the individuals for any reason that seems just to them according to the fad of the day. Libertarianism rejects that utterly. In libertarianism, the collective only has the right to prevent harm or punish another that is violating a very minute set of fundamental rights. So let's continue. Libertarian socialism is a group of anti-authoritarian political philosophies inside the socialist movement that rejects socialism as centralized state ownership and control of the economy, as well as the state itself. Well, that's just a hippie commune inside of a stateless society. Libertarianism is not stateless, but you could have a hippie commune inside of a libertarian state, so long as the adults are members of it as a matter of their own free will. Libertarian socialism criticizes wage-labor relationships within the workplace, instead of emphasizing workers' self-management of the workplace and decentralized structures of political organization, asserting that a society based on freedom and equality can be achieved through abolishing authoritarian institutions that control certain means of production and subordinate the majority to an owning class or political and economic elite. Honestly, I have no idea what that fucking gobbledygook means. It's just a bunch of words without any particular cohesive thought in them. Look, libertarians have no radical issues with private companies setting its own rules for employment. Libertarians, at least most, recognize that contract labor cannot be physically forced to honor their contracts. An agreement cannot be used to turn a human being into a slave, even if the agreement is in writing. Also, an agreement that violates law, such as a murder contract, is also unenforceable. Other than that, libertarians are not going to intervene in between employers and employees. On the other hand, if you want to start an employee-owned store or a co-op, you have a perfect right to do so within a libertarian state. Also, libertarians have no great issues with big businesses. We only have issues with state-sanctioned monopolies and state-manipulated markets in favor of government cronies. Whatever this gobbledygook up above is trying to get at, insofar as it doesn't align with what I'm saying, it's not libertarianism. Libertarian socialists advocate for decentralized structures based on direct democracy and federal or confederal associations such as libertarian municipalism, citizens' assemblies, trade unions, and workers' councils. Well, libertarians don't buy off on the idea that majorities get to dictate what the majority wants. That's not a libertarian idea. Majorities are restricted in that they have no right to tread in areas in which they have no right, period. But if you have some sort of political group, as long as membership is voluntary, as long as these organizations do not use force or undue coercion, they would be able to exist perfectly fine within a libertarian state. The issue is violating somebody's individual rights. No group, no matter how it's formed, has a right to do so, not against fundamental individual rights.
All of this is generally done within a general call for libertarian and voluntary human relationships through the identification, criticism, and practical dismantling of illegitimate authority in all aspects of human life.
Yeah, the problem with that is that's just called libertarianism. You don't need socialism. The only thing you need socialism for is force. Force against individual fundamental rights of life, liberty, and property, to be free in the exercise of those so long as you don't interfere with somebody else's. You don't need socialism unless you want to do something more than this. Look, libertarianism is really easy to understand and follow. It's not confusing at all. It's straightforward. It's basically two things. One, every individual has the same fundamental rights to life, liberty, and property. The right to life encompasses the means to defend one's life. Liberty encompasses the freedom of expression, the freedom of religion, the freedom of association, freedom of travel, freedom of self-determination, etc. Property includes the concept of economic freedom, that you are entitled to the fruits of your own labors, so long as it doesn't violate another's fundamental rights. That's one. Two, force is never justified unless rectifying or defending a fundamental right that I have just outlined. Boom, you're done. All you have to do is think through those two things, and you're going to be consistent in your libertarian principles and thinking. Go there first, every time. Now, here's where that guy T fucked up in his criticism of Sargon's suspension of the SJW programs at the university, his petition. Now, don't get me wrong. That guy T is more knowledgeable about libertarianism than I, but the fact of the matter is the more that you think about libertarianism, there is this tendency to get caught up in thinking about all the various applications of the ideology and get away from the core libertarian principle of non-force. That really is the key. So there really is no such thing in my mind as self-censorship. It's simply self-expression. You have reevaluated how you want to express yourself, and you have decided that you don't want to express an idea as being good because you think it's a bad idea. That is not fucking censorship. You're willing to talk about the subject, you're just not willing to say it's a good fucking idea. That's not censorship. That's self-expression. Here's another way to think about it. If my neighbor has kids that are outside banging drums and hooting, hollering all night and calling me nigger whenever they see me, I have a perfect right to go over to my neighbor and say, hey, your fucking kids are annoying the fuck out of me. I don't know if you're teaching them, but they're teaching their friends to hate me because I'm black, dude. Talk to your kids, whatever you're fucking telling them, think about what you're telling them, and watch what the fuck you say to your kids, all right? It's fucking up my life. Now, what's going on here? Have I forced my neighbor to do something? No, I haven't forced him to do anything. I haven't even threatened him. I just told him what the fuck's going on and what I think he ought to do. In other words, I have expressed my mind. I have spoken my mind. I have transmitted my opinion to him. I have exercised communication. That's all I've done. Everything that has occurred is completely within the frames of libertarianism. Everything that he does from that point, he does so voluntarily. That's libertarianism and the free exchange of ideas. I don't know what the fuck is the issue. Alright, so here's my second example. Some fucking Black Lives Matter bitch accosts a white student for wearing dreadlocks. I get on YouTube, I make a video, and I tell this cunt she's a cunt. And I tell this cunt to get the fuck over herself, quit being a fucking idiot, that she's got culture and race and everything upside down in her head, and to knock it off, she's being fucking stupid. Now, what have I done? Have I exercised force? No. All I did was speak my mind. I haven't forced her to do anything. If she changes her behavior, she does so voluntarily. This is perfectly libertarian. I honestly, this is fucking Libertarian 101. Sargon's petition doesn't force anyone to do fuck all. It doesn't force them to do jack shit. There is no force. It is merely the signers and the supporters of this petition saying to universities, your fucking kids are fucking causing problems. Your teachers are causing fucking problems in these courses. It's not the subject matter that's fucking them up in the head. It's not that they can't talk about race. It's not that they can't talk about communism. It's not that they can't fucking talk about classes. It's that they're pushing false statistics and narratives that are fucking wacko theories without presenting the appropriate criticism of those wacko fucking theories. So, that being our opinion, please fucking stop. Reevaluate what the fuck you're doing, and if you decide to have these courses, teach them with academic rigor, please. So, where is the force? There's no force here. Anything that they do at the university is the way that they are going to express themselves in the future. They're not banning topics. They're not banning points of view. They are just fully covering and fairly covering the subjects. That's all. It's not censorship. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And if you want to say it's censorship under some fucking self-censorship definition, that's fine. Go right ahead. My question is, where's the force? There is no force here, so it's perfectly fine. If it was censorship, think of it this way. If it was censorship, you people that are telling us that we should not voice our opinion would also be censorship. Do you follow me? Libertarians, do you hear me now? Telling human beings that they should not speak their mind to other human beings under your definition is what you are doing to us. You are telling us to self-censor our opinions. You are telling us not to communicate to others, and you are doing so without force. So if what the fuck we're doing is censorship, then it's you doing it too. So, fucking A, you're being hypocrites. If our expression to universities that they are doing something wrong and they should stop doing that wrong thing is censorship, then you're telling us that we are wrong and that we should stop doing this thing is also censorship. Please think about what you're doing. You are being a hypocrite if you are doing this. Sargon, you fucked up royally in your defense of your petition when talking to libertarians because you are all over the map with your defense. It's fucking simple. You were using socialist arguments or socialistic arguments to try and convince a libertarian. Sure, you can do that if you want, but it's just not a fucking very productive way because you've got a completely valid libertarian way to convince libertarians that they're wrong. It's the most efficient way to do this, to win the argument and you could have took the piss right out of their arguments by using a libertarian argument. All you had to do was have them explain to you how they think that they're telling you that you are wrong involves any more force than you and I and others telling universities that they are wrong and should quit espousing bullshit. And boom, drop the mic and walk away. That's all you had to do with libertarians. Explain there's no force, the amount of force is fucking equal, and just walk away. Well, I take that back. Some libertarians might say, well, you were doing it in a collectivist way, and that's easy enough to deal with. Just tell them as soon as libertarians decide that they are not allowed to have Google Hangouts and get together and express opinion together, and as soon as individuals are no longer able to form companies and exercise their rights to assemble and petition others in the government to redress their grievances, as soon as they are willing to say that they're on board with all of that, then you'll fucking drop your petition. Boom. Drop the mic a second time and go watch some porn. That's all you had to do. Both you and that guy T have gotten way too deep into these fucking arguments that are nothing but sophistry from the perspective of a libertarian. And both of you are smarter than me, more articulate than I, and you should have known better. Now, to finish this off, well, actually, I'm going to have a second part to this, but it's not going to be about Sargon and that guy T so much. But to finish this off, let's get back to this libertarian socialism argument, because this is kind of the path that both of you guys went down. Look how long this entry is. But this entry should have just been 2 words. Well, the title should have been Libertarian Socialism, and the explanation should have been 2 words. Quote, an oxymoron, unquote. Because that's what the fuck it is. Look at it this way. Sure, if you try hard enough, you can find areas where libertarianism and socialism, as a practical matter, theoretically can overlap in certain fucking minusculely defined ways. But as ideologies, they do not overlap at all. My example for this: a clock and a cocksucker both have hands. But the motherfucking clock and cocksucker are not going to produce babies or a society or a civilization. They've got some similarities, but they're fucking mutually exclusive in terms of building a society. I mean, fuck me. You know what I'm saying? You have to turn your fucking mind inside out to get there, to make a clock and a cocksucker work as a basis of building a society. Oh, sure, you can do it. Well, if you have a clock, then people can get to work at the same time and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, whatever. That's this fucking article that we're looking at here. You've got overlaps that are meaningless. And when you start going down this path, you're entering into postmodernism bullshit, sophistry bullshit, that, yeah, you got a kind of a point, but it's a pointless point, and you guys both went down that path. And when you start getting into bullshit balls deep into fucking arguments like this, what you end up with jack shit that doesn't fucking resemble libertarianism at all. So my next video, I'm going to explore the fucking guy you responded to, what was his name? Libertarian Socialist Rants, that guy's video in response to Sargon. If you keep going down these fucking sophist arguments, these bullshit arguments, and pointless points, you're going to end up as crazy as this motherfucker in 5 to 10 years. And like my good friend Crown T likes to say, and I'm paraphrasing him in the worst way now, A good argument should be like a fucking battle axe. You walk in, you chop the fucker down, and you walk out and you're done. You don't sit there and fucking meander over pointless bullshit other than to say what they're saying is pointless bullshit. So take one out of the Kraut's handbook. The problem wasn't that guy T and libertarians had their ideological lenses on. The problem was they were using them to look at these fucked up, balls deep in the grass arguments, and they forgot their principles. Go straight to the heart of the matter, get right to the principles of the ideology, and argue from there. And in 9 out of 10 cases, it will solve these issues. Anyway, I love both you guys. I'm super big fans of both you guys. You're doing good shit all of the time. So peace and keep up the good work.